So ingredient validates name. Now we're gonna build. Actually, we already have the table that was built. That's called recipe ingredients, right? So the model we have that we need to build right here, similar to recipe style, this is going to be recipe ingredient. So new file, recipe underscore ingredient.rb. Again, it's very important to get the spelling right, so I'm just going to check recipe ingredient. Okay, so class recipe ingredient subclass from active record base. Okay, so recipe ingredient belongs to recipe, right? And then belongs to ingredient. Right? This is almost the exact same code to the recipe style. So belongs to recipe, belongs to ingredient. Okay, so recipe class, recipe ingredient. That should be all we need here. Now in ingredient, we'll has many recipe ingredients with an S, plural, and has many recipes through recipe ingredients. Right? So let's make the change to recipe also. So class recipe, very similar, has many recipe ingredients, has many, here again, this is the trick, has many ingredients through recipe ingredients. Okay, great. So those should be all the associations that we need. We have the two join tables right here. Recipe style belongs to style and recipe. Recipe ingredient belongs to ingredient and recipe. And then we have the style model, validates name, so the validation is there. Has many recipe styles, has many recipes through recipe styles, so that's one. And then the ingredient model validates name, presents true, has many recipe ingredients, has many recipes through recipe ingredients. Okay, so now let's test out these associations in the Rails console. Alright, I'm going to increase the size of this a little bit and then clear this up. Alright, so let's test out the first table we created. So style.all, okay. We're getting this array-like structure, so that's working. Then ingredient.all, okay. So these two tables, the connections are working. So let's grab the first recipe and then to check the association, if I go something like recipe.styles, this should return an empty array-like structure because we don't have any styles associated with any recipes, but at least the connection should be working. Okay, perfect. And we see that it's working. It's doing the inner join and everything, and we're getting the empty structure. Okay, now let's try recipe dot ingredients. Perfect. This association was working as well. All right, so we need to create a couple of styles and ingredients and test out the reverse, right? So let's do that. So style equals style dot create. Actually, that's an error. Style dot create, and then name, I'll give it Chinese food. So Chinese. Okay, so then if I go style.all, so I have one that's Chinese, which is great. All right, now go style. All right, so style.recipes is currently empty. Now to add recipes, if I already have a recipe variable, so I mean recipe object, which is the first one. All right, so let me associate the style to that recipe. And how do you do that? So style dot recipes, and then shovel, which is the two back arrows, recipe. Okay, so that worked. We see that it was committed. Now if I do recipe equals recipe.first, recipe.styles, there you go, it's saying style is Chinese. Perfect. Then if I go style.recipes, which means style, which currently holds Chinese, what are the recipes associated with Chinese that we have? And this should return chicken nuggets. Okay, perfect. It returned that. So this association is working between styles and recipes. Now let's test out ingredients and recipes. So ing equals ingredient dot create, name, let's say chicken. Okay, so I have chicken as ingredient type. Now I want to associate the first recipe we have, which is chicken nuggets, to this ingredient, right? And vice versa, I want to associate this ingredient to that first recipe. So I have my recipe object. So ing.recipes currently should be empty, right? So if I want to add, shovel in our recipe. Okay, so that got committed. So our chicken nuggets should be associated with ingredient chicken. So if I go ing.recipes now, it's showing chicken nuggets. Perfect. So that association is working. Now I'll grab the first recipe again. See, if I just type in recipe dot ingredients at this point, there you go. It's saying it's type chicken, right? The ingredient is chicken. Perfect. So both of our many-to-many associations are working. So our back end, which is all the tables, the joined tables, and the associated models, responsible for our two many-to-many associations, are now working as we expect. So at this point, I'll exit out, and then I want to basically do a commit at this point, right? So git status. Okay, we added a lot of files and modified a few. So let's go ahead and do git add space dash caps A, then git commit dash m, and we want to give it a message within quotes of saying build many-to-many associations, style ingredient and recipe. Okay. Close quote and hit return. Okay, so now git status. All right, so at this point, I also want to push my code to GitHub. So git push origin master. Okay, and now if I go git status, perfect. On branch master, everything's up to date. All right, so that's what I wanted to cover in this lesson, and I'll see you in the next one.